Ms. Mitchell, you say you met the defendant, Mr. Jordan, in a courthouse when you were 7 years old.
Yes.
And he was taken to court for child support.
Yes.
You claimed he denied paternity testing at that time and claimed you as his daughter and began paying child support.
Yes.
But since that time, he has denied you and refused to treat you like his daughter.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Jordan, you admit that you and Mrs. Mitchell haven't been very close, but you say you never believe you're her biological father. You state you were a good man trying to do the right thing for a child, but today's paternity test results will prove you are not her father. Now, Mrs. Mitchell, take me back to why this is so important for you today.
Well, today I came here to see if he is my biological father because I lost my mother a year ago from breast cancer. I just want to fill that void. I don't have no one else. It's just me. And I just want to make sure that he is my father, and I just want closure.
I understand. I lost my mother as well to breast cancer, and I couldn't imagine, ma'am,
Yes.
not knowing who my father was, because my father most certainly stepped up to the plate during that time, so I can only imagine. Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
You just truly don't believe she's your biological child. As you can see, the young woman is hurting.
I
and
understand
she's been
that.
through a huge and terrible loss.
Not my fault.
Of course, we're not talking about
Okay?
fault.
I mean, you know, I mean, I understand her feelings, but when she was younger, you know, and I found out about her, hey, all I could do was step up to the plate straight up. And the thing is that I saw this young lady in the courthouse. I sat down and spoke with her, asked her about her school, how she was doing, and I asked her, where's her father? She said she didn't have a father, and I immediately raised my hand and said, hey, that's okay, we don't need a paternity test. And I told her, I say, I'm your daddy, baby, right here. And I took on that responsibility, okay? And I paid her mama $400 a month.
And she was 7 years old.
She was 7 or 8. Her mom wanted me to adopt her, so I changed my living conditions, bought bedroom furniture, got her set up to go to school and everything. I was gonna adopt her, but her mom reneged on it when it was time to go to court, and I never heard from her again, okay? And that was like, what, 4 years after I found out she even existed. And I tried to see her at least twice a month, but her mom wouldn't allow that.
Did you have doubt in your mind, though, during that time?
I've always had doubts, ma'am, but it was nothing I could do about it.
He never
'cause
tried to be a father.
I had accepted the fact that I had a one-night affair, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, with her mom one time, and after that, I never saw her again.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate
for
that.
7
Thank
to 8
you
years,
for
okay?
having that image in my head.
You say you did your best to try to establish a relationship.
Yes.
All the way
He
up
never
to
tried to establish a relationship. He never even tried to call me.
What was your understanding, Miss Mitchell?
My understanding was he was my father, and we were supposed to try to build a relationship, but he never came around. Every time I try to call him, he always blow me off. Every time. It was like every once or twice a year I see him, every 2-3 years. I had asked him to get my car fixed. When he said, yeah, I'll coach you, he said, I will walk you through it. It'll be like a bonding time.
You gonna walk her through the directions?
Yeah, because I figured if she learned how to fix them herself, she didn't need to call me to fix them anymore. I was trying to teach her how to be self-sufficient, but she didn't need a man to do things for her, okay? And if she could fix it
Did you
herself.
coach her? Did you stand there with her?
Yes,
as
I
Yeah,
did.
he stood there with me. He stood there with me as I was doing my own breaks. He made sure that all the books were so-called tightened up. I left, went to work the next day. My brakes came off on the freeway.
Wow.
Yes. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. So I had to sit up there and figure out how to get off the freeway without crashing into the wall. So I grabbed the
You still here?
Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, what?
That's dangerous. You know that.
Hey.
That's dangerous. No brakes on the highway. Come on.
Hey, there was breaks when she left my house, okay?
I need to go back to your childhood to understand, because on the one hand, he did pay the child support, but he never acknowledged me. He always denied me. I didn't feel like he ever wanted me. But you've jumped to a story where when you were in need, you did call him and
The only
say,
time she ever called me, y'all,
Dad,
is when she wants something.
I need
That's
something.
not true. That's not
So
true.
I want to understand from your childhood, what was it like? Did you have a relationship with him after this Jay, do you remember being in that courtroom when you were 7 years old?
Well, when I was 7 years old, I remember sitting on a bench, and the judge asked me, "Do you know who your father is?" I said, "No." That's when he came up and said what he said about, "Well, I'll be her father." And that's when I was like, "Okay, well, you're my dad." So I'm thinking he about to start coming over. I'm about to be with him so we can start spending time with each other. I didn't see him for years. Even when my daughter passed away, he didn't even care. He didn't even call me.
I didn't know she was pregnant.
Oh, you was such a lie?
Nope, see, I didn't know.
At your mother's funeral. At your mother's funeral. You didn't even acknowledge me then, and I was pregnant. I saw you. You was in the front. Your mom died. I was right there on the side.
I don't remember that, Your Honor. Okay.
Well, I was there.
You
I
don't
came up
remember
to
her
you.
being at your mother's funeral?
No,
I was right there.
No, I do not.
He knew I was
Miss
pregnant.
Mitchell, you claim you tried to call him daddy once.
Yes, I did.
And what happened?
He told me to call him Jordan.
Is that true, Mr. Jordan?
I tell everyone to call me Jordan, except her.
So that's his daughter.
Your daughter.
Well, I raised this one like that.
So that's his daughter.
So why is it that she can't call you daddy too?
I'm not
not your daughter?
I don't know. That's why I'm here today. Find out. So I get close to find out.
You know what? I feel as if the reason why you're
He didn't even show up my wedding or anything.
you create such a distance between her is that you just have that doubt in your mind.
Yes, I do.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Talk to me about the doubt. Give me specifics.
I didn't even find out about her until she was 8 years old, okay? I never had a relationship with her mom, period, ever, other than, like I say, it was at one time affair with her mom.
So you basically had a one-night stand?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, and then when I graduated cosmetology school, I was doing well.
Which he can't do
okay.
here.
Yeah. And
He can't. He tried to cut my hair all the way off.
her mom
He tried
found
to
out
chop it all off
doing
because he
well,
didn't care about me.
And
He
then
think
she
I'm
decided
just
that
some
she wanted to
stranger
latch
girl.
on.
It fell right out the moon, a daughter.
Yep, a daughter. Yep, fell right out the moon.
You see what I'm talking about?
You know?
You see what I'm talking about?
You had some doubts as well.
Yes.
Talk to me about your doubts.
For one, I don't look nothing like them. Hello? They Amazons. Me? I'm short. I'm only 4'8". They up there around 6'2" or something like that. Then secondly, my birth certificate don't even have his name at all. I don't have his name. Nothing.
Jerome, may I see that, please? So you're not listed on the birth certificate,
And also
sir.
his mother even doubted me. When I called trying to talk to his mom, she even told me, why are you calling my house and that's not your father?
But whenever she called me, Your Honor, I was there to help her for whatever the reason.
No, that's a lie. He never was there. He was there to help that one all the time. He helped Shima every time. He would come over, Johnny on the spot. That's another thing. I didn't know his real name until I was around, that side of the family, and I overheard them saying his name. I did not know his name until I got older.
You submitted a letter to the court.
Yes, I did.
Can you please read it?
Dear Dad, even using that word brings up an image of pain. Lonely nights and years of questioning on why you were never there for me. How could you abandon me? I'm sorry. I never did anything to you for you to treat me the way you did over the years. I needed you and you didn't even care. There were times when I called you trying to confide in you, and all you did was laugh like you're doing now. You don't even care.
Hearing that letter, I will say that I see a little bit where she's coming from because you are kind of nonchalant about the situation in many ways. Is this kind of a defense mechanism because of the doubt, or is it that you truly just don't care for her at all? She says she feels like she's a joke to you.
Yes, I do care. Like I said, I truly do not know, and I am here today to get closure, to find out if this is truly the case, okay? And if at any time that I find out that she is truly my blood, then things will change only on the fact that if she wants them to change, okay? Because just like when she said she got married, I knew nothing about this.
Oh, my God.
Okay?
Yes, she
When
did. She the one who called you talking about, because she wants you to walk you down the aisle.
She's got
He
more
came
children.
over to my house and
Okay.
was like, oh, yeah, you want me to walk you down the aisle? I said, no, I'm going to have my grandfather walk me down the aisle. He was like, so she said, oh, how you going to have some man that you don't even know?
You know, like, no, she doesn't know me at all.
I want to hear from your witness. Ms. Wagner, please stand.
Oh, thank God.
Now, this is your daughter, Ms. Wagner.
Yes.
This is my father, and he gonna do what he have to do until I die or he die.
See?
That's what's gonna happen.
And that's a wrap on
They
that. I
came for
guess
me
she
to be
told
here,
you.
so it doesn't even make a difference. And she is right. He do stuff for me. He has always been there for me since day one, and he's gonna be there for me. I didn't ask. He is the parent. I am not the parent. So when I call my daddy, yes, he does whatever I ask him to do.
I think he's scared not to, Ms. Wagner. But anyway, I want to understand from you, did you know growing up that you potentially had a sister? How did you regard Ms. Mitchell growing up?
I'm the first one. So, of course,
Of course, she always thinks she first.
I am
about
the first
everything.
one. We don't know nobody else. Don't
Whatever.
be hating. Girl, stop hating with your fake.
Whatever.
This is fake right here. All this crap. That's all
No,
fake.
what you are
She
is
is
fake.
not like that. That is all fake.
No,
Do
I'm
you
wrong.
girl stop playing? You gonna do what I tell you to do because I'm big
whatever.
sis.
No, you don't tell me to do nothing.
Whatever. And you do it.
No, I don't.
You do it.
No,
I ain't
I
trying to
do
hear
not.
you. Yes, you do.
So wait a
Whatever.
minute. What's interesting is you fighting just like sisters.
Whatever.
And you just told her you gonna do what I say because I'm the big
She
sister.
on here trying to act like she does it. They don't call my father and give him the respect. When I moved
do
here
give him
and I was
respect.
going through some
I
stuff,
try to call
and
him.
she does help me. We help each other. So I'm at her house when Daddy come over there, she called him a punk. You know what I'm saying? So of course I'm
She
not going.
speaks
She's
disrespectfully
very
to your
disrespectful to my father. Yes, you are. You call him a punk. You don't care if he take care of you or not. He's still your father.
Ladies, hold on now. Hold on. We're going to keep it calm in here because I'm from Detroit too, and we don't all want to set it off, right? So,
She's just a liar. That's all. Straight up.
listen.
She's a liar.
Ms.
Disrespecting me
Wagner,
all the
I
time.
want to
They
hear
never
from you.
listen.
There are moments when you speak that I hear that you've acknowledged her as your sister, your little sister, and you've taken on this big sister role in many ways. Do you still have a lot of doubt?
I really don't know because, my father tells me he slept with her mother in the back of a topaz. So, that's one time. Who knows? I don't know.
Tornado.
Oh, I don't know, Daddy.
You say she's pretending, Ms. Wagner, but when I look at her, I can see that in some ways she wants your attention. She wants his attention. She wants some of his attention. But the young woman has had to have felt like the odd girl out all her life. Because your father acknowledges that he honestly had doubt because of the situation. I get what you're saying, that, yeah, she might want attention, and I think she does. But I think she wants the attention of the man she thinks is her father. And let me say this before I let you talk. It's an attention that you get. So maybe you might take it for granted because he gives that to you. You have that. And every time she looks at you, you represent a person, her sister in her mind, and you have what she doesn't. So please, if you could just at least understand that.
I'm not disrespectful to him. I've never called him a punk. If my children disrespects me, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But if you're an adult disrespecting me, then I'm gonna have to love you from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
She is disrespectful. Now, the car incident, I personally thought it was funny. I really did. And she came on here talking about it was brakes, it was the bolts and the tires. The bolts came off because I was the first person she called when they came off.
No,
She was
it wasn't.
mad.
It was my brake pads.
Okay,
my
well, whatever
brake
fell
pads
off, she
had
called
fell
me.
off.
Okay.
She called me.
Lucky for us, this is paternity court and not auto court. I don't want to hear anything more about these brakes. I've heard enough. I'm so happy that you made it alive so you could call your possible sister and that you were fine. You all have come here for answers.
Yes.
Yes.
We have those answers.
Okay.
Are you ready to hear the results?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. Jerome?
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they are as follows. In the case of Mitchell versus Jordan, when it comes to the paternity of 31-year-old Shante Mitchell. Mr. Jordan, you are her father. What do you feel, Miss Mitchell?
I guess I just want him to treat me better as a daughter.
Okay. The thing is like, I would like to leave this court with one frame of thought, okay?
Oh, what is your frame of thought?
Anytime your woman, your wife, your girlfriend tell you that she pregnant, I suggest any and everybody go talk to Dana. Dana, yeah. DNA will answer all your questions, okay?
I'm glad you came and had a meeting with Dana here in paternity court, and I'm really glad that you all got the truth you were seeking. Miss Wagner, as much as you had to say, big sis, when the results were read, I looked to the room and your elbow nudged him and you said, hug her. Ms. Bronson, you have always known the defendant to be your biological father, but have opened your case against him to prove paternity because he now claims he has reason to deny he is your father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Roberts, you believed Miss Bronson was your firstborn until 3 years ago when your world was turned upside down with the news that you may not be her biological father, and Mr. Banks claims he is. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Bronson, how do you feel knowing your father is denying paternity?
Your Honor, I feel Mr. Roberts is my father. He's the only father I've known for 29 years. That's my father, period. I know him my whole life. He the only one I call my father. That's who I grew up known as my father. So Mr. Roberts is my biological father. That's it.
And Mr. Roberts,
Yes, Your Honor.
what is your side of this?
Well, I always believed that Jasmine was my daughter. I raised her as my daughter as the other children in my life. She only knows me as a father. I never even knew anything about this gentleman here.
So 29 years.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
He's been through everything with you.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, did you take financial responsibility for Miss Bronson? Did you provide for her in the form of support?
Yes, Your Honor. The times I was there, and I would also order child support.
Are you on her birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I'm not on her birth certificate.
So, Miss Bronson, all your life, this is the man that you were told was your father, you believed was your father, and you had no reason to doubt it.
Yes, Your Honor, up until 2009.
What happened in 2009?
I had a phone conversation with my mother. Then she mentioned Mr. Banks, and she said, don't you remember the guy that I told you who thought he was your father? When she said that to me, Your Honor, it was a what moment, like, what are you talking about? So she said that he wanted to get in contact with me. I gave her my number to give to him, or she gave me his number. I can't remember how we actually got in contact. And then we reached out to one another.
Did you know Mr. Banks?
No, Your Honor.
You know who he was?
No, Your Honor.
So all of a sudden, a man named Mr. Banks comes to the picture, and this man could be your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you say anything to Mr. Roberts? Because at the time, you believed he was your biological father.
No, Your Honor, I didn't say anything to Mr. Roberts. I kept it to myself for a while, and then I told Miss Blair.
Mr. Roberts, Miss Blair is your fiance.
Yes.
What did you say to Miss Blair?
I just mentioned that my mother told me that someone else could be my father.
But you said it to Miss Blair and not to Mr. Roberts.
Right.
What made you make that choice?
Me and Miss Blair built a good relationship, so I felt that I can confide in her about that. She was the only person that I trusted to tell that at that time.
So, Mr. Roberts, take me to the day you found this out.
A few years ago, Miss Blair told me that she needed to talk to me about something, and that's when I found out. I was kept in the dark about all this. I never knew anything about Mr. Banks. I also, spent 8 months in jail for unpaid child support, and I'm $75,000 in arrears.
And then you don't even get a call. Your fiance comes to you and says,
Possibility that Jasmine is not my biological daughter. And that took me for a loop after all these years. I was like, I had paused for a minute. I was like, what? What are you telling that she may not be my daughter? I was not expecting to hear that. It really shook me after all these years. My thing is, if the mother knew or Mr. Banks knew of somebody, why didn't somebody say something? I was the last to know about everything. And if other people knew, they should have said something. We could have dealt with this issue 20 years ago.
Mr. Banks, I want to ask you, when did you become aware that you potentially could be Ms. Bronson's biological father?
I can recall when she was about 6 or 7, and I ran into her mother and Jasmine and her sister in the park. And then she had told me that Jasmine was my daughter then.
Oh, so Jasmine's mother said?
Yes.
Do you remember the words she used?
No, I don't. I just recall her saying that Jasmine was my daughter.
And Jasmine was there too?
Yes.
And when you looked at this child, did you say to yourself, wow, this could really be my child? Or did you believe her?
I believed it, and I said she probably can because resemblance of my family members at that age that she was.
Mr. Roberts, how old was Ms. Bronson when you found out that you potentially could not be her biological father?
I do believe, Your Honor, she was 19.
That's not accurate, Your Honor.
What is your testimony, Ms. Bronson?
When I first found out in 2009, I was 20 going on 21.
You had no idea about this?
No, my mother said the same story that Mr. Banks said, that I went to the park and I met him. But as a 7-year-old...
So she had seen him when you were 7. Now you 21 years old.
Yes.
So that's 13 years from the day you all had this encounter. Do you remember the encounter in the park?
No, Your Honor, because as a little girl in the park with my sister, the last thing I'm thinking about is meeting some man.
Absolutely. And you don't remember there being some outward gesture, Mr. Banks, am I correct?
Correct.
It was just, there's Jasmine, and she over there playing, what kids do.
Right.
That could be your daughter.
Right.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. But then for 13 years, the secret persisted.
Well, I thought I was going to see her again, but I had never seen the mother again. And never
Did
seen
you
Jasmine
exchange
again.
numbers? Did you
Yes,
say,
we
hey,
did.
let's keep in touch?
Yes, we did.
Did you ever call her?
Basically, she took my number, and I said I never heard from her since, though.
Did you think about that day for years?
Yes, I always thought that she was my daughter after the mother told me, because I even took her upstairs to meet my mother.
Oh, wait, so on this day when you all met at the park, then you took Jasmine, Ms. Bronson, upstairs to see your mother?
Yes, because she did it upstairs.
And you went upstairs and you said, Mom...
I just found out that Jasmine is my daughter.
And your mother said...
She said, well, she could be a possibility because she resembled my sister when she was young a little bit.
And you don't remember that either, Ms. Bronson?
No, Your Honor, I don't remember that at all.
And so, Mr. Banks, did you know Mr. Roberts existed and that he had been paying child support and going to jail and fighting through all of this responsibility?
No, I didn't.
You were never told that there was another man?
Well, she did tell me that the man that she had married, didn't think that he was the father at the time.
So, Mr. Roberts, up until this point, you didn't even know Mr. Banks existed.
No,
You
Your Honor.
did nothing.
I knew nothing of Mr. Banks. I dated Miss Bronson. I even married her 2 months after Jasmine was born, and I went on my business as the start of my family. But possibility, if I'd known that earlier, it probably wouldn't have been the rest of my daughters, because if she would have told me that earlier, that another man is the father, I would have discontinued that relationship. And I look at it like this, as being young, I would have been like, well, I dodged the bullet. But I did the best, and I took responsibility, but my whole issue is somebody should have said something. I'm the last one to know everything. And it just blew my mind. People could just keep that without letting people know. She has a right on her end to know who her bloodline comes from, whether it's on my side or Mr. Banks' side. She needed to know, and it shouldn't have took 29 years for this to happen.
When you hear Mr. Banks talk about this encounter in the park and taking Jasmine up to see his mother. This is all new to you.
No, I never heard of it. I did hear that. I think he picked up for Thanksgiving one time or something like that.
Is that true, Mr. Banks?
Yes.
And did you ever say, well, why is he picking her up for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, and then they told me that he may be the father, but I never met him. Nobody told me he was outside.
It was 2011.
Well, I don't know the dates because
What'd you
nobody
say?
told
It
me
was
nothing.
2011.
It was 2011?
Yeah, I don't know the date
Yes.
because nobody told me nothing. A lot of stuff was kept from me.
We'll get it. You piecing it together. You
best
just
as I
piecing it
can.
together.
Yeah, best as I can.
Ms. Bronson, so you met Mr. Banks. You went to his home for Thanksgiving in 2011. That's true?
Yes, Your Honor. I went to his mother's house.
You went to his mother's house?
Yes.
So after you did that, how long did it take for you to inform the man you believe was your biological father that I had this encounter with Mr. Banks?
I didn't tell Mr. Roberts that happened.
You didn't tell him at all?
No. At the time, I didn't feel comfortable to tell him. I don't want to be the one to come and tell somebody that you're not my father. That's not my job. So I didn't do it.
But you told Miss Blair?
Yes, because she was the person I always confided in. To this day, she's the person I confide in.
And so instead of going to the man you believe is your father and trying to break this news, you knew that this was not my burden to carry.
It's not my burden, and I wouldn't want to tell him that anyway. How can I do it to tell their father, you might not be my father? Right. Can't do that.
And now you're hurting because you want to prove today that he is your biological father because that's the only father you've ever really known.
Only father I know, 29 years. That's my father.
And so when you told Ms. Blair, after that, what did you say in your mind was your next course of action? Do I just wait? Was she supposed to relay the information to Mr. Roberts? How do you get to the point where Mr. Roberts finally knows?
I didn't really think about that. I was still registering it myself. Mm-hmm. It's still a lot to deal with to this day. That's something that's on your mind every day. When somebody tell you that somebody else is your father, when you already don't know your identity, that jacks you up more. So I'm glad she told him because I couldn't do it.
Yes. I think it's very real when you say, when someone says something to you like this, you think about it every day. I don't think I've heard it ever stated that real and that true.
Mm-hmm. Every single day. If you're sitting around with him laughing, joking and stuff, it will cross your mind.
Yeah, because we've been on vacations, birthdays, she came down Maryland, lived with us for 8 years. And now, she got her first apartment, which we live in the same complex. I live in Benefit, and she live around the corner. So we still in each other's lives. Her children, my grandkids, they're at my house right now. So we see each other every day. I take them to school, her children take them to school to spend out my house. We still involved in each other's life to this day. But we here to find out if I'm her biological father or Mr. Banks. And I need to know as well because it's been a long time, and I still can't get over that. They kept this from me. Like somebody should have said something.
Mr. Banks, hearing this testimony, do you still feel that it's a very real possibility that Ms. Bronson is your biological daughter?
Well, the only thing I could really go off is what the mother told me. And like I said, the resemblance, if I would have knew she was my daughter, I would have been a part of her life if I would have knew where she was at.
And Jasmine, honey, do you feel like Mr. Banks should have done more?
Yes, I do. If you see me at 7 and you felt that I looked like your family, you could have did something. It wasn't on me. My mother handled it how she handled it. That's on her. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But as a father, you should want to, if that's your child, be in your child's life. They could have did something. I wouldn't be standing here if that was done. I probably wouldn't feel the way I feel if that was done.
We help babies, 2 months old, 2 weeks old. We help babies before they're even born determine who their fathers are. But we can never forget that there are adult people in this world that live with it. I say a lot of times when we deal with our cases with babies, I say they have the benefit of never having to remember that this was an issue because we're able to get it solved before they ever know. And then there are young women, beautiful young women like yourself.
Thank you.
And you still have to function with
every
this,
day.
right?
Yes.
Every day. That's why we're here, is to get you these results, and I want to get them for you right now. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Bronson versus Roberts, if you need paternity court, call us at 855-883-6223. When it comes to 29-year-old Jasmine Bronson, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Roberts, you are not the father.
She's still my daughter. I love you. You're always gonna be my daughter.
I love you too.
Absolutely. The next result reads as follows. In the case of Bronson versus Roberts, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Banks, you are the father. Do you want to be a part of her life?
Yes, I do. Because I love you. And I always will love you, as I told you before. Now, if I can walk down these stairs to give you a hug, if I may.
Will you allow that?
That's fine.
I think there's one benefit in this. Both of these men believed you were their daughter, and both of these men wanted to get the truth, and both of these men want to be in your life from here on out. So look at all you have.